Well, what's going on, everybody? Matt Modi here with OddsJam. We got an incredible day of college football ahead of us, so let's bet some college football. Pretty simple. We have the two college football playoff games between Ohio State and Georgia, TCU versus Michigan. We also have some pretty awesome bowl games, like we have Alabama versus Kansas State, Kentucky versus Iowa, which admittedly that game won't be super fun. But I'm just going to give my best bets for all of college football today. Of course, using OddsJam, using the positive expected value page to lock in all of these bets. A lot of them I really, really like, of course, so I'm locking them in myself. I have all of my sports books up here. So let's get right into it. Number one, we have Ohio State versus Georgia. We're taking an alternate spread. We're actually selling some points, and we are getting Ohio State +4. So the main line for this Ohio State Georgia game, I think, is 6 or 6.5, depending on where you look. We are selling some points, getting a little bit better odds, and getting Ohio State +4 at +130 odds. And this one is at DraftKings. So this one I locked in myself as well. As you can see, Ohio State +4, +130 odds. I put a full unit on it, which for me is $100. You see, I have a couple things pending for today, but this is the bet that I locked in. So let's chat about it. Number one, it's mathematically profitable. That's, of course, the most important thing. OddsJam calculates the perfect line of this to be at about +126, +126.5, something like that. And these numbers are incredibly important. They're pulled from the sharpest sports books in the world. So OddsJam backtested thousands of betting opportunities, trying to determine what sports books consistently do the best job at pricing odds. So they collected all that data. They tested it. They verified it over a significant period of time as well. So the sample size versus time and the number of bets is large enough to make it something that is actionable. Not like, oh, yesterday these sports books were the sharpest. It's thousands and thousands of bets over a long period of time, and it's a ever evolving formula. It's not something that was statically decided like, oh, well, we're going to do this in August, and that's going to be how it is moving forward. As sports books become more or less sharp, the formula will change to reflect that. So it's a very powerful tool, very powerful system, calculating the OddsJam perfect line, the no-vig odds. And then simultaneously, OddsJam is scanning odds from current betting opportunities, scanning all the lines from all of the major sports books, and then spits out opportunities where a sports book, in this case, such as DraftKings, is giving you more favorable odds than the OddsJam perfect line. So kind of the summary of everything is that OddsJam is using the sharp sports books from previous betting opportunities to set the market and make money on future betting opportunities. So, and that's kind of the math behind this Ohio State one. +130, no vig odds, +126, giving us an expected value percent of about +152. So that's the math behind it. That stuff's important. There's obviously additional research that I recommend doing before ever placing a bet, just making sure that you're placing the best of the best. I do it before I even place a bet. And what you want to do, it's not that complicated. You see how when I hover over the play itself, which is Ohio State +4, it's bolded, it's got the border around it. When I hover over the play itself, it's highlighted blue, the shade is. And if you click open, it pulls up where every sportsbook is pricing odds for this play. And you want to just compare the bet that you are placing compared to the rest of the betting markets, making sure that the bet that you are placing is truly an outlier to the remaining sportsbooks. In this case, it's a resounding yes. DraftKings prices it at +130. Pinnacle prices it at +109. BetRivers +108. Tipico +103. And then Caesars actually has it all the way down at -104. The closest sportsbook is Pinnacle, 21 cents lower than what DraftKings is giving us. And the reason why you want to identify whether the bet you're placing is an outlier or not, if you just think about it from a logical scenario, if every other sportsbook has this roughly around +109 to -104, and then one of them is wildly higher, like clearly significantly pricing it higher than every other book, the most likely scenario is that DraftKings just has this bet mispriced, and that it should be priced closer to where all the other sportsbooks have it. And if you can consistently take advantage of sportsbooks like this that have a mispriced line, it's something that will be profitable in the long run. So this is my first pick for today, Ohio State +4, +130 odds, obviously against Georgia. Next up, we have same game Ohio State versus Georgia. First quarter over 13.5. So basically 2 touchdowns scored, assuming they make both extra points in the first quarter of this game. So this bet is at minus 115 at Betfred. This is one that I locked in as well. As you can see here, first quarter total over 13.5, minus 115 odds. I risked to win a unit, so I risked, let me zoom in a little bit more here. So I risked 115 to profit 100. That's how I handle my unit sizing to win one unit. And same logic here. Betfred has it at minus 115. The OddsJam perfect line has it at about just above minus 117. And then the remainder of the sportsbooks, there are a couple that have it kind of close, like FanDuel at minus 116, PointsBet and Bet Any Sports at minus 120, as does sportsbetting.ag. And you want to see all of the betting markets, so that's why I have all these sportsbooks up here. But then we have like Pinnacle at minus 133, BetRivers minus 134, DraftKings minus 130, Caesars minus 125, BetMGM minus 125. Majority of sportsbooks have it priced 10 cents to almost 20 cents higher than the Betfred line at minus 115. And no other book has this at minus 115. So it's not like tied with another book. Granted, FanDuel is close. And if you don't have access to Betfred, you could take this on FanDuel just 1 cent higher, because the OddsJam perfect line prices it above the minus 116 number. This is still a good play. So you could also take it on FanDuel, sacrifice 1 cent of juice on FanDuel at minus 116. But this is a play. Ohio State versus Georgia over 13.5, minus 115 at Betfred. And then the last one we're going to go ahead and lock in here is the over in TCU versus Michigan. Over 57, minus 108 at WinBet. Another play that I took as well, as you can see, risked to win a unit. TCU at Michigan, over 57, minus 108 odds. And the logic is the exact same here. WinBet has it at minus 108. The OddsJam perfect line has it at minus 110. And for a main line, like a total points, point spread, money line, the odds are going to be closer together because they have more action. So even though the gap themselves between the bet you are placing and the rest of the betting markets might not be as big, because it's a main line, the gap is more valuable. And it is still a pretty good gap. So it's not like there is no, it's not like this WinBet line isn't an outlier. It just might not be as big. But WinBet at minus 108, Circa Sports is the closest 5 cents higher at minus 113. And then we see Pinnacle minus 119. Typical also at minus 119. And then minus 121, minus 130, minus 122, minus 120. And then for a total like this, we know that sportsbooks are going to have different odds for a play, right? So right now we see over 57 and under 57. If you open the event page in a new tab, what it does is it pulls up where every sportsbook prices the main line of this play. So we're taking the over 57. We want to make sure that if a sportsbook isn't pricing it at 57, do they price it above this number, 57.5, 58, stuff like that? And the answer is a definite yes. Actually, the only sportsbook that has this total at 57 is WinBet and Circa. Every other sportsbooks, including the sharp ones, has it at 57.5 or 58. Like if we want to count, we have BetMGM, Betfred, PointsBet, Caesars, Bet Any Sports, Bet Online. And this one's important. Bet Online is important because it's a sharp sportsbook, kind of like Pinnacle. We use Bet Online to set the market. Prices it at 57.5, as does Pinnacle has it at 57.5 as well. That's their main line, but they still also favor it going over. So they have the overpriced at 57.5, the underpriced at minus 105. They're favoring this play going over. And then we see some sportsbooks have it at 58, a full point higher. That would be DraftKings. That would be Ballybet. That would be Bookmaker. And Bookmaker is another sharp sportsbook. So this is another point in our favor for this over 57 being a really good play. So all in all, TCU versus Michigan, over 57. Really good play. I put a unit on this one as well. Then the last play that I'm not going to officially take, well, looks like the odds changed, so never mind. Sometimes that will happen, so it's important to move quickly. But so I just got 3 betting picks for you guys today for the college football playoff betting slate. If you're tailing, comment, let me know. But that's it. So enjoy the games tonight and have a good one.